Hey guys, it's Jenna and Harvey, and today we're going to be doing a super exciting video. We're going to be talking about the makeup fails that I've had recently. So these are really good videos, I think, to share every once in a while because sometimes you just want to know the products to avoid. We do have a couple products here that I feel like I know how to use better than their original method. So I'll let you guys know kind of how I've made some of these products work. Otherwise, I feel like some of these are pretty disappointing. So I figured I would let you guys know so that you could avoid buying them yourself because these are products I do regret purchasing myself. The first product I want to talk about, what is this called? This is the Gucci Rouge à Levres Liquid Matte, and the shade that I picked up is called They Met in Argentina. So this is actually a liquid lip, and this is one that is very thin in consistency. So I really do like how the formulation is thinner. That to me gives me the best chance at making something work like this because it's not super thick and it's not super moussey. It is definitely pigmented. I'll show you guys the swatch here as well. Couple strengths with this one is that it's sort of like a medium opacity. You can see like kind of what it looks like here. It's definitely a really beautiful color, but what I will say is that this is one that does tend to set and really emphasize lines in my lips and sort of make them look a lot drier in appearance if I'm not careful. If I'm doing even the exfoliating, getting my lips nice and ruddy, putting on a primer, like you name it, I do feel like this is one that unfortunately does seem to settle in. Liquid lips tend to do that, unfortunately, for me anyways, so they haven't always been like my preferred lip product, but this is one that just seemed to really settle. And for a luxurious price tag like Gucci makeup, I was like, okay. If you guys did buy this and you kind of have similar thoughts compared to me, then I'll show you how I've made this work because this is expensive. If you did end up buying it and you're like, oh crap, like what am I gonna do with this? This is what I've done. So I'm actually wearing it underneath my lipstick today. I've sort of made it kind of like a lip stain underneath another lipstick. So you can absolutely do that with a liquid lip. You can kind of save them for like doing your first layer and then putting your color over top of it that you want to show through. So for this one, this is actually a lip chic I really like from Chantecaille. It's called Peach Blossom, and I do put this over top of the Gucci one today. So you can see that it's nice and glossy, it's really beautiful, but it's actually both of these together, and I would never wear this by itself knowing my thoughts of how drying it is and stuff like that, but when you actually pair them together, it sort of increases the longevity of the lip chic because you do have this very similar color underneath that's holding down that color a little bit for you. It's always really disappointing when you find a product that you don't like and you just like the worst, especially when it's a luxurious price tag, but I have found this is the best way to keep this Gucci product in my collection and actually really use it well when I layer it underneath something like a lipstick that is quite creamy and does have the potential to move around a little bit or fade faster potentially throughout the day. This is the perfect way to use the Gucci one at its best. So just so you guys know, by itself, this is a fail for me, unfortunately, but with another lipstick that's a similar shade, I feel like it actually extends the power of one of my favorite lipsticks, like the Lip Chic here in Peach Blossom, and that way I can make good use of this product. Really happy I found an alternative method for the Gucci. I want to talk about this next product from Hermes. Oh, this one is so disappointing. I could not believe it. I was like, what on earth is this? It is so pricey. This one is really hard to find your shade. For some reason, I felt very lost when I was trying to find my shade in this. This is the Hermes Plein Air. I mean, yeah, it's, the name is adequately named. It's definitely plain like air. I didn't see a thing on my skin. Now keep in mind, this is supposed to be sort of like a complexion enhancer. This is not meant to be a full coverage product, a medium coverage product. It's more like a light coverage kind of skin tint idea. But here's the thing. When I use light skin tints, because my skin is not perfectly even, I have redness to my cheeks. I do have significant acne, especially lately since I've been kind of stressed out. If you guys saw my life update, you know what I'm talking about. There were lots of things in my life as of late. I feel like my acne really thrived, unfortunately, in this time in my life. And so now I have a lot of acne to cover. When I was testing this, my skin was a lot better. And I felt like there was nothing really going on. Like when I put this on my skin, I was like, where is it? I would apply and then it almost felt like my skin would suck it up and like nothing happened. Not a glow, not a moisturizing effect, like nothing. Then I kept applying, kept applying, kept applying. I didn't notice anything. So I'm wondering if this could be something that's much more suited for someone that already has a pretty even complexion and probably doesn't have a ton of stuff going on for redness or anything that they need to cover. When it came to acne coverage, this is not something you're going to expect from this. You're definitely going to need to go in with a concealer or some kind of color correcting product before you go in with this because it really doesn't provide that coverage for you, but that was something I already knew. It just seemed like there was nothing to this at all. Almost instantly felt like I applied something, sucked into my skin, and it was gone. I don't know what was happening. It was some kind of magic trick, but for the Hermes price point, this is incredibly disappointing. Because of the fact also that I felt like my shade match was really difficult to do, right off the bat, I was kind of stressed out when I was trying to pick up this product. I don't know, the shade I picked up here is called 30 Ficelle, I think is how you say it. It comes in like a opening like this, and there actually is pigment that comes out. You guys can see that. It should do something. I mean, look at this. It doesn't look like a light skin tint. It looks like a medium coverage product. For some reason, it just didn't do anything. I felt like nothing was going on my face, and that was just very, very strange to me. The way they advertise it is kind of like this like light skin tint, kind of foundation balm idea. Just didn't really do anything for me. So this is one... When they called this one the Hermes Plein Air, I mean, that's French for something. I don't know what. Even when I use other light skin tints, I feel like there's a little bit of something going on, at least. This was nothing. Okay, this one is heartbreaking because you guys know that I love the Nest candles, and this is just like a very minor inconvenience for me. So this is the Grapefruit Nest candle that I picked up. I actually burned it through. You guys can see that. Now this Grapefruit candle was kind of like special for summer. It's in this like woven, like rattan packaging, I think they call it. This, okay. This, I don't know if I just got a dud. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm talking about. Because the basket doesn't sit even like this, the candle would burn uneven unless I put like some kind of something to level it out. We're talking about, you know, when you guys sit at a restaurant and your table is like it's not perfectly even. The four legs are like sideways or whatever. You have to put like a napkin to even it out so that your table becomes stable. This is kind of what I'm talking about for this. I'll show you a photo of what I had to do, but when I was burning this in my kitchen, I put like a piece of paper towel underneath it to even out the base. That way it could actually burn through evenly, because I did feel like if it didn't, it would have been very uneven when you burn through the candle. The wax sort of would have been leaning one direction and would have been very slanted and an uneven burn. So that is the reason why this particular one was a fail for me, because it was just like a little bit extra work to make it burn properly, I felt like, and it didn't look very aesthetically pleasing because you kind of want to get it for this like beautiful basket thing. If you're lucky enough to get one that's not morphed at the bottom and it's just perfectly even, then you don't have a problem, right? But for some reason, either mine was placed kind of funny, the basket was funny, or maybe like while it was in manufacturing, it could have gotten smushed or something. Either way, this made it a little bit harder for me to work with. And when you're thinking about Nest candles, super beautiful, but very bougie, right? I love the scents with them. They're very relaxing. The throw is great. The Grapefruit was no exception. The scent in here was beautiful, but it just required that little extra step. So I'm not sure I'm a fan of the basket, because you could be getting an uneven one and then you have an extra step to make sure you're burning through that evenly. Let's talk about Chanel. Okay, this is one I gave so many chances. This is from the #1 Camellia collection that came out a few months ago. This is the like cheek lip tint thing. It's like a duo product. The shade that I picked up is called #2 Healthy Pink. I did demo this in my Full Face of Chanel, and I did find that this blush was quite tacky when I was actually applying it to my cheek, and it really didn't settle down. That is a big pet peeve for me. I cannot have my makeup stay tacky on my face. I don't know if it's just because I have long hair, but it drives me crazy, especially when you're going outside, you're doing your errands, your wind blows into your face and it sticks onto your cheek. No bueno, we don't like. So don't like that. Also, because of how tacky it is, it's not really my favorite product to use for a lip tint. I mean, when I think about lip balms, they have to be nice and smooth and have a lot of slip and really make my lips hydrated, moisturized, feel plumper, you know, just that really nice experience. And this really didn't do that. It almost dragged on my lips because it was so tacky. It's a pretty thin formula in my opinion, but it's just very tacky. I don't know. When you apply it to the skin, it's a little bit patchy at first as well. I'll show you what I mean here. This is the swatch, so it's okay. It's not great. It does have like a light to medium opacity. You guys can see that. I don't know. It's just for the Chanel price point. Chanel has a lot better products, in my opinion. I think that if you're wanting to splurge on a Chanel product, this isn't it. You know, there's some beautiful products out there from the line, and this was just one that didn't work out for me, unfortunately, even though I really, really like this color. I think it's a really beautiful color for spring, summer. Tacky blush on the cheek, not so good for the lips either, so I really couldn't save this one. I was kind of thinking like maybe I could use this as a lip balm because at least it would salvage it, but this is one that really I couldn't save in any which way. This palette, oh my goodness, this one was one that was so disappointing. This is actually from Artist Couture. It's called Supreme Mauves. This was a big disappointment for me because I'm a big fan of the Supreme Nudes palette. The one that has the beautiful like army green and browns, color story wise. Very like rose palette, right? We're talking about a theme that's very popular right now. But here's the thing about it that sort of made me kind of like, what the heck, right? The mattes in here are actually really pigmented. They do blend really beautifully, and that was kind of the quality I was expecting. There's a little bit of fallout with these, but not too bad. The shimmers are the biggest disappointment in this palette, by far. Very flaky. They don't have a ton of pigment behind them. They sort of fall all over the place. Even if you're applying them with a fingertip, you don't even get a ton more pigment. And that's always been something that I would do in a situation where like a brush pickup just doesn't do anything. It doesn't translate the pigment very well. Sometimes a finger application will save it, and you can feel very comforted knowing that you can at least use a fingertip or like a very sprayed down, you know, dense brush. That is something you can do in these situations, but not this one. So the eyes I'm wearing today, believe it or not, is actually this shade called Royale, which I really love. It's a very beautiful, romantic, soft pink. I really, really love this color. So I went all over the lid, bottom and top, and then I used the shade Risque. Keep in mind, look how beautiful this looks, okay? It's not because of the Risque shade, unfortunately. When I placed Risque on the eye, which is this glitter, top row here, tons of fallout, barely applied to the lid. I just felt like it wasn't working out. So in order to save this look, I had to add my Hourglass Scattered Light eyeshadow in Ray. This was the only way to save it. And you can see it has a very similar shade color to Risque. So this is what's actually on my eyes. In order to save this look overall. Because of that, I just knew every time I've been testing this palette, this is now, I think the 5th time I've tested this, I have felt like it's just been a mess, and it kind of stresses me out because the pigments don't seem to work. You know, some of the mattes are really creamy and beautiful, like I said. Some of them sort of have a little bit of a dusty quality. Not a deal breaker, but you know, a little bit of a difference in matte quality depending on the shade, but it really is the shimmers that are like, wah wah, you know, like they're just not, unfortunately, performing shimmers for me. If you're able to make them work, I think it's actually really beautiful color-wise, but because of the fact that we do have these types of beautiful everyday friendly colors already in our collection, I do think one of the draws to this palette is the shimmers. And if the shimmers don't work out, it's kind of like, why bother adding this to your collection when you have colors like this most likely already? Now this one is kind of like a complicated fail, so hear me out. These lipsticks from Pat McGrath, the only fail component I have from this is the packaging. It feels very, very lightweight compared to this guy, Okay, so this is from her Matte Trance line. This is Elson. This is in kind of like the special edition, like pavé kind of little decal they put on this bullet, but this feels very heavy. It feels like lacquer, high luxury, like weighty in the hand, and you can tell that you have like a really beautiful, luxurious piece of makeup, right? Especially for the price point of Pat McGrath. This is one that I really think it just feels lighter, like overall. It feels, is there just less product? I'm like, maybe? I'm just taking a look here real quick. Okay, so we have 0.3 less grams, but I don't think that would be that much of a difference. It's really the packaging that feels kind of like, I don't know. And how cute this is, like, it's so adorable. I just wish this felt more luxurious in hand and sort of in person, right? When it comes to the formulation though, guys, I have no complaints. This is called the Satin Allure, so it is a creamier Pat McGrath formula. I'm just going to swatch them for you so you can see. They are beautiful, so no complaints there. But I just wanted to mention the packaging and the disappointment there. So it's not a complete fail, but just something I wanted to let you guys know of. Here are the shades here. They're super, super beautiful. You can see it's kind of like a medium opacity, very buildable. It is a satin finish and one that does tend to move a little bit more than her Matte Trance. It just depends on the mood that you want. I do think both of these shades are stunning. But the packaging, I don't know what she did there. It just seems like she took a couple shortcuts through the production process of this. It just seems to be not quite the Pat McGrath quality that I'm used to. And I do think sometimes she does this with other launches, not even just like the Bridgerton collection, but when she released her base products, she had like her foundation, her powder, her loose powder, and her primer. The primer and the loose powder had like the worst packaging ever. The foundation was a 10 out of 10, beautiful product, felt very luxurious, but the other two were kind of like, what the heck, right? So I feel like this is kind of the same thing. It was like, you know, we could have had this a little bit heavier and felt a little bit like more luxurious. I don't know, especially because she does still charge a very similar price point compared to her lipsticks that she has in her permanent collection that just seem to be a little bit more polished overall. Now let's talk about the last fail, which is also a packaging fail. Let's talk about this. Like, how big is this? This is the blush and highlight collection from the Bridgerton 2 collection from Pat McGrath. So this is called the Blushing Delights. There's two blushes and a highlight. No, three blushes and a highlight. The packaging is so obnoxious. I can't. It's cardboard. It feels very cheap. It makes the products inside feel cheaper as well, even though they actually perform pretty decently. I don't have any complaints about the blushes and highlight, but the packaging, you're never going to travel with this. I mean, come on. Like, look how big it is. No, 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 no. I don't understand as well. Like, I'm kind of curious. You got your guys' thoughts down below. Let me know if I'm missing something. But I feel like this is so large. Like, what if she did like something like from the first Bridgerton collection? I'll show you what I mean. So this is still cardboard packaging. This is from Bridgerton 1, and you can see that this is way better to travel with. And it could just be because the formulations are a little different because these are baked formulas. So they sort of have like a cylindrical, like outward, you know, shape. Whereas these are her Divine Rose and highlights. They're flat, so maybe it just felt like packaging would be a bit better with this kind of formula, and this one would require something this large. But come on, look at all the wasted space too. There's so much wasted space. You guys, don't want to be super negative, but I just feel like this could have been created and packaged a little bit differently. It's just very, like, I don't even think it had to be this thick either, you know? I wouldn't travel with this for sure. I also feel like it's just very obnoxious, like in size and just everything about it. What do you guys think of these products? Let me know down below what are some of your recent product fails so that I can avoid them as well. I'd really appreciate that too. And until my next one, guys, take care and stay safe. Bye, guys.